Welcome to the Priestess of Motherhood podcast. My name is Dania Foster. I am an energetics therapist and a clinical naturopath, and I'm here to help you raise your children unbridled and wild whilst navigating the world of burnout and depletions and bringing yourself back into that vitality that you require to be that priestess in your motherhood phase of life. So today I'm wanting to talk to you about what it really means to be in tune with your body. So when I probably had my biggest realization that I was not in tune with my body was after the birth of my first child. And the main reason why I realized that was because I was beginning to lose connection with people in my family. So, for example, my partner, our relationship was on tightrope, like really, really lots of tension. Me snappy and on edge, taking offense to lots of things like him coming home from work and trying to help me clean the house, me taking that on board as me failing, lots of things like that where I would lose my temper and I just felt like I couldn't connect to him. I was really struggling with postnatal depression in that my baby had a lot of sensory struggles, sleep challenges, and later we uncovered them to be food intolerances, lots of things like this that had me really depleted as well. But it took those emotional and those relationship challenges and issues for me to be able to realize that something was wrong and I couldn't find any connection within myself. So that was sort of like the turning point for me when I realized that something had to change within me. So it was when I was pregnant with my second baby, when my eldest would have been about 18 months old, that I started delving back into what I needed within myself to find that connection. And for me, that meant going back to my studies, which I had postponed. That's when I started naturopathy again, back on that path. And I did a lot of delving into women's circles and women's work and empowerment work around the feminine. And that started when I was pregnant. And I picked up my rituals again around energy healing and started working back into that whilst I was pregnant. And the path continued from there. And when I had my second baby, and then I found myself at home again with two little ones, a newborn and a toddler, once again, I had started down the path of nourishing myself and tuning to my body. But because I was still in early days and I had so many pressures on my plate, then I did fall into that disconnection again. And uh, how it showed up in the second time round was more of that internalized failure, really. And it came with a lot of depletions that I stopped eating food all day and I would just live off instant coffee all day. So therefore my adrenals were burning out. And that was me trying to keep up with everything that was required of me without acknowledging the nourishment side of things. So this is a really important topic for me. It's something that I feel that a lot of women feel quite disconnected from themselves and from their families and don't know how to compensate for that and may try to overcompensate or work harder or do more or be more for all of these different things, trying to get smaller, lots of weight loss things and all of these things that are trying to be more than what we are. And it's all about just coming back and finding that connection with ourselves, and nourishing is the most important step that I want to really talk about here. Because otherwise we're going to end up still feeling disconnected, still feeling really frustrated, lost in your bodies, angry at your bodies, resentful of your bodies. And that can bleed out into your relationships, and your kids and your partners will pick up on that resentment, pick up on that frustration, and it creates this vicious cycle. So here we are. We need to acknowledge the nourishment. We need to acknowledge the hormonal shifts that have occurred and the burnout that is prominent within motherhood. So, first off, what does being in tune with your body actually mean? Does it mean just taking some time each day to listen to your body and have an awareness of what's going on and what your body needs and honoring those needs? First off, a little bit, yeah. But that's not all of it. So I think it's really important to start with knowing your rhythms. So this is talking about your cycle phases, your menstrual cycles. Knowing where you are in your cycle can give you such an insight into your energy needs and what you've got to expend, how much you can push yourself when it comes to movement, how to nourish yourself, what sort of foods and sups and herbs may your body be needing at this point to fill up your plate in that stage of your cycle. So knowing your rhythms around your cycle, tracking that against things like the moon can be really easy to see where your cycle may be shifting or stretching longer, and tracking what day it is in your cycle is something that's really important to know. Well, when you felt like that, what day were you? So that you can have something to relate it against. The other rhythm to get to know is your hunger, your cravings, your dips in energy. So if you feel like, oh, every day I need to have a sleep, well, what time is that? Because if it's, 11 in the morning, that's not a good sign. We need to build you up a bit more. If it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, well, what's your blood sugars like? What sort of food have you been eating to get you to that point in the day? If it's 8 o'clock in the evening, I'm gonna say, "That's it. That's enough. You need to move into rest now. Stop trying to clean everything up until midnight and allow yourself some downtime." And this is where it comes into the rhythms, your rhythms of rest and movement, knowing when to push and when to pause in your energy. So when we get to know these rhythms and how our body attunes to these rhythms in our environment, it helps us to know whether we are actually in a state of stress, in fight or flight, if we are pushing against our energy, if we are freezing, perhaps we're in a stagnant state of freeze and protect and safety. And just tuning into that is going to help us get a better, broader view of what's going in your life if you can just take some time to have a think about how you feel across your day and looking into those little rhythms. So being in tune with your body means knowing what stage in your cycle you may be, where your hunger and cravings fit into your day. Are you craving food late at night? Are you not feeling hungry first thing in the morning? All of these things are big key indicators that we need to pay attention to. So, what are the signs that you may be disconnected from your body? Feeling exhausted, but you push through anyway. That's not a sign that you are in tune with your body and nourishing your needs. If you are ignoring your hunger and skipping meals, if you are ignoring cravings or shaming your cravings, if you are moving with those cravings or binge eating is more of the thought process around there, or emotionally eating to fill those spaces, missing sensual pleasure from other things than food. If you're struggling with low libido but don't know why, if you're struggling to connect in with your partner or yourself or your body and you just don't feel any of those senses of pleasure. If you experience chronic pain, hormonal imbalances, period problems, gut issues, constipation, diarrhea, bloating, pain, just pain in general, endometrial pain, pelvic pain. These are big red flags from your body to say, please pay attention to me. If you are feeling numb or disconnected from pleasure in food, no matter what you eat, you don't feel satisfied. You always have this brain noise on where you're constantly thinking for what's next, what's next, what's next, and not taking the time to be really intimate with what you are consuming, whether that's food or media or anything like that. So, where do we start with rebuilding connection with your body? So, tracking is really important. If we start tracking your phases of your cycle, this can be really simple in that we just do a little journal check in each day where we may write the date, you may write the day that you are in the cycle, and you may do a little check in to say, how do I feel in my body out of 10? And think about your physical body. So if you're feeling like bloated, or if you're feeling pain, or if you are feeling lethargic and heavy, these types of things would come into your rating out of 10 for physical elements. You can do a rating on your mindset, your mental health out of 10. So this would come into, are you having negative self-talk? Are you having anxiety, depression, symptoms like that? Just rating those down. And you don't have to write more about it if you don't have the energy to do so, but just giving it a number is a check-in that we get as a starting point. The other thing that you could rate when you're doing your journal check-in is your spiritual or your energetics out of 10. So just taking a moment to just think, how connected do I feel to my spirit, to my energy? Do I feel like I'm on path, on purpose? Do I feel aligned with where I want to be? Marking that out of 10 gives you an indication of how fulfilled you feel. And it gives us something to turn back to. You can then think about, what are the needs that, like, what's my body calling to? What's my spirit calling to? What's my mindset calling to help boost or enhance that score, to help bring it up or bring you back into that interconnection with your body. So, what about the pleasure practices? What have you been doing lately that makes you feel joy or pleasure or sensuality within your body? And this does not need to be sexual. Pleasure is not just sex, but it's about finding joy in life. It's about finding joy in food, in touch, in the way you move, in the way that you observe the world and natural beauty from nature. What about, what nervous system practices have you been doing? Have you been integrating your body with your energy through things like breath work or grounding or spending time in nature, or attuning with your herbs, taking your herbal medicine, creating simple rituals in your everyday moments that nourish you and bring you back into connection with your body? And intuitive eating. Are you enjoying the food that you eat? Are you eating food just for the sake of eating? Are you eating food but not really enjoying it, in the fact that it's just because it's there? And that's where the emotional eating comes in. Are you eating food that's actually not loving you back and is creating some symptoms within your body, within your gut, within your joints? Maybe you're getting achy from too much sugar or things like that, but you're ignoring those symptoms because it's easier to just stay in the same patterns and routines that you've been in for a while. So learning what your body actually needs, instead of forcing diets that you think maybe you're supposed to be doing, or workout routines that are maybe too much for the stage of where you're at the moment, but tuning into what is it that your body really needs in this moment. So your body is always speaking to you. the more you tune in, the more your body will guide you, because our bodies respond to our intuition when we act on it. Okay, so have a think about where you are on this scale of connected to your body physically, energetically, emotionally, and your mindset. And the first step is just finding that time to connect back in with you, giving yourself the energy that you deserve. Okay, so if this has called to you and if you are looking to delve in a bit deeper with connection with your body, I invite you to reach out to me. I have a free connection circle coming up at the end of the month, and our theme this month is sex magic. So we're talking all about our libido, our sex drive, and connecting to our pleasure senses. So we can talk about that with hormonal balance, with foods and nutrients that will bring us into alignment with that, but also rituals and shadow work practices that help to guide us to release the shame that often holds us back around those areas. So come along to my upcoming talk, and I would love to meet you there. Lots of love to you. I hope you have a beautiful day.